Hello children, welcome to NEET World. This is Narayani, I am your Botany faculty. Today in this session we are going to discussing about the fifth chapter of second year Botany, it's respiration in plants. So in this respiration in plants there are two questions which are very important for the IPE examination, and also according to the NEET competitive examination, NEET and MCQs, this topic is very important. So before we are going to start the session, I would like to announce very important news for you. So here we are providing the NEET long term course for just rupees 3,333 per month. Yes, we are providing live with online class recording classes will be available, and we are providing NCRTs. We are from the basic converts to the higher level we are explaining very in a clear way, and also well crafted study material is going to provided, and especially one-on-one mentorship will be there. And it is both for MPC students and also BIPC students. For MPC students, we are the particular faculties will going to discuss about that. JEE and MCET examinations, there we are providing the long term. As you are studying the 11th, 12th also, we are providing regular course. As like you are done with IPE, you can take online coaching, either the offline also we are providing here. So here you will get the digital classrooms here, and also hostel availability is also there for both girls and also boys. It is both as your preference, either by online or offline, we are there for you. So it is mostly useful for the regular students of class 11th, class 12th and also repeaters. And the main focus of our long term is from the basic, from physics, chemistry and biology, from the basics to the topmost level. You can answer any type of questions in the upcoming examination or competitive field NEET and MCET. So it is quite useful for you, and we are just providing it for 3,333. You can choose either offline or online. We are there. For offline, you can come to our institute name called NEET World, present in Narayani, Hyderabad. If you want to join through online, contact this number, and we will provide you all the information about our institute and detailedly explain about our long term course. And along with this, we have an app name called NEET World. There we will give access. So it is just rupees for 3,333. If you are really passionate to achieve your dream and to see yourself as a doctor or top engineers in a best college, if you are preferred, just don't wait for it, enroll today with our NEET World. It will be quite useful for you. So this is it is commencing from the 1st July onwards. So strictly the classes are commencing from this 1st July. So don't forget to enroll today. So another more important news is, this is our Telegram group. So by scanning this QR code, you can access our Telegram group. What are the benefits you get by access our Telegram group? So you will get daily quizzes of biology, chemistry, physics and also mathematics, and pre-live class schedules will be dropped in. You can join on time into our classes, and whatever the free resources are there, we will drop there, and also one-on-one doubt solving sessions will be there. So as the faculty also is there in the Telegram group, you can ask any type of a question in then to the particular faculty, they will answer your questions. So if any queries, please let me know by this number. And don't forget students, the long term courses for class 11th, 12th and there are also repeaters, it is starting from the 1st July onwards. It will have a great coaching by parallelly taking by the class 11th and 12th and also repeaters. You will get the result driven course here for just rupees 3,333. So this is what about the important news. Let's discuss the respiration in plants from the second year Botany. So respiration in plants, what is respiration in plants? So in this chapter, respiration in plants, it is a 5th chapter for in your IPE. So you definitely get, these are the repeated questions and mostly are coming for the both AP and also TS. For both AP and TS, the questions name glycolysis and Krebs cycle. These are the most repeated questions in your IPE, in the long answer type of questions. In the section C, you all know that there are 3 essays will be come. Out of 3 have to write 2. Right? In that first question, it mostly appear from the chapter of respiration in plants of the 5th chapter of IPE in the Botany. So these are the two questions. Out of 2, definitely it will come 1. 99%, the first question from the essay, it will be the glycolysis, either the Krebs cycle. So these are the 2 questions you have to be read for sure. So it is in the chapter of respiration in plants. Let's see the first step. First question, glycolysis. So before that, what is respiration in plants? We are studying in the respiration in plants. So what is meant by respiration? What is meant by respiration? Respiration means produces the energy. What is meant by respiration? Producing the energy. Producing the energy. Where the energy come from? So mostly the energy comes from the food, right? Energy comes from the food. Where this actually the energy is producing at the cellular level. At the cellular level. The food. So mainly the energy comes from the food, right? So food is nothing but the macromolecules. So if you have a doubt, right? So madam, you are saying respiration is the producing of energy. Then what is the breathing, right? Breathing is different and respiration is different. Breathing is a physical act. You are inhaling the oxygen and exhaling the carbon dioxide. So whatever you are exhaling the oxygen and inhaling the carbon dioxide, the oxygen which is you are exhaling, inhaling, it will be used by in the process of respiration. By using the oxygen, the process is producing the energy in the cell, cellular level, which means at the cell. The energy is producing at the cell. So by producing the energy, the carbon dioxide is releasing, that will be exhaling through this physical act. So now we are having a doubt. So you are discussing about the plants, no ma'am. So they don't have any organs to breathe. Then how they are breathing? How the exchanges of gases is happening in the plants, right? So here the plants don't have any organs to breathe. Which means plants can respire, plants can breathe. Of course, they will also take the gases. Exchange of gas occurs in plants also through the stomata. Through the stomata. Where it will be present? At the superficial layers, which means at the top of the plants, which means at the leaves, right? At the green part areas, these stomata will be present. So in the non-green plants like bark, right? So in the bark, they will also need gases. Of course, they also need, because by the utilizing of the gases only they can prepare their own food, right? So they can get the energy. No. So how if they don't require, for example, take the root. Root is the underground part of the plant, right? So what is the function of the root? The basic function of the root, it will absorb the water and conduction of minerals. To that also, to absorbing the water and conduction of minerals also, it require energy, no? Which means they also need the exchange of gases. So it is by the lenticles. It is by the lenticles. It is by the lenticles. Let's see. We know that plants can prepare their own food. Plants can prepare their own food. So plants do not eat, no? Then how they are producing the energy? Do plants eat? No, right? So but plants are producing energy. Plants are preparing their food by the process name called photosynthesis at the leaves. At the leaves. So whatever the food is producing by the process of photosynthesis, it will be used for the respiration to produce energy. It is used in the respiration process. Nothing but produces the energy. By the energy, the root absorbing the water and conduction of minerals is happening, right? So which means either plants produce photosynthesis, it producing the food. That food is used in the respiration to produce energy. That energy is only using for the transport, movement, absorption. What are the activities takes by every day? It will be it will be happens by the energy, right? So it is nothing but the food which is prepared by the plant. The food is nothing but macromolecules. Macromolecules. Right? So the food is stored in the form of, in the plants is nothing but glucose. Right? So ultimately it's stored in the form of sucrose. So glucose, sucrose are nothing but carbohydrates. Right? By oxidizing these carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, the energy is producing in the plants. What is meant by oxidizing? Nothing but breakdown. By breakdown at the cellular level, it producing the energy. And what is meant by cellular level? What is meant by cellular respiration? The cell which produces the energy. The cell which produces the energy, we call it as cellular respiration. Okay, cellular respiration. The cell which produces the energy, we call it as cellular respiration. The entire cell which produces the energy, we call it as cellular respiration. So, the food content of the plants, the carbohydrates mainly stored in the form of either the glucose, sucrose or starch. Right? So, it is prepared at the superficial layers of leaves in the plant and it is translocated to the various parts. So, because they also need energy, right? Because for the absorption of water, the plants also need, the roots also need energy. For the absorption, transportation, right? Transportation of minerals, it require energy. So, whatever the food is prepared in the top of the leaves, it will be translocated to the underground part of the, every part of the plant, but especially in the region of every part of the plant. So, by that they can produce energy for the, based on the requirements, either the transportation, absorption, movement, everything. Right? So, plants only can prepare their own food. Oh, is only plants can prepare their own food? No. Along with plants, cyanobacteria also can prepare their own food. So, they can prepare their own food. So, let us see, is animals can prepare their own food? No, they are heterotrophic organisms. They are dependent on the other organisms for their food. So, whatever the plants using the energy by the food which is stored in the form of sucrose, So, whenever the requirement is there, thus the food which is prepared at the top of the leaves will be translocated to various parts of the plant. So, whenever it is required, what will happen? The sucrose, which is break down into glucose and fructose with the help of the enzyme name called invertase. So, these are the respiratory substrates. What is meant by respiratory substrates? Because of these products only, these substrates only we are getting energy, right? So, that is why these are called respiratory substrates. These are called respiratory substrates. So, these respiratory substrates involves in the production of energy. So, one molecule of glucose produces 38 molecules of ATP. 38 molecules of ATP. So, what is meant by ATP? ATP is the energy currency of the cell. If I want to buy anything, what I will say? I just don't go and give the bag, I like that bag, give that bottle, I like that bottle. I will not say like that. What I will say? I will give money. So, they will give the what I like, in the shop I feel like the water bottle, they will give the water bottle to me. So, it has a price. Like that only for one glucose molecule, it produces 38 molecules of ATP. So, ATP is the energy currency of the cell. So, in the cellular respiration, there are stages are there. So, one is glycolysis. Cellular respiration involves various steps of process: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain, oxidative phosphorylation. So at particular session you have to know about the glycolysis first. So where it is glycolysis happening? Glycolysis is happening in the cell. It helps to produce the energy. These are the for the cellular respiration, which means the cell producing the energy. So entire for one glucose molecule you are producing the 38 molecules of ATP. So the first step involves in every living organisms is the glycolysis, the first step. So glycolysis is the first step which involve in the producing of energy. So it is an ancient process. It is an ancient process because when there is no life is existed, when there is no oxygen is present on the atmosphere, then also for the anaerobic organisms, which means the organisms which can survive without oxygen also, this process glycolysis is happened, which means the glycolysis is an ancient process which occurs in the anaerobic organisms also, which means it is a first step which involves in the all living organisms to produce the energy. The ultimate goal of the glycolysis is to produce pyruvate. Okay. So where it is occur? So glycols occur in the cell. We want the specific location. It occurs in the cytoplasm. It occurs in the cytoplasm. It occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. It occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. It is a linear process. It is a linear process. It is not cyclic. It is a linear process. It will not, what is meant by cyclic? The point where we start, it will be again will come back that place. It is a cyclic. But it is not like that. It is a glycolysis, which means a series of steps happening to produce the energy. Where was the exact location of the glycolysis? Exact location is in the cytoplasm. Right, let's see the glycolysis. So now we are saying the glycolysis. Right. So what is meant by glycolysis? Where it is exactly happening? It is exactly happening at the cytoplasm of the cell. Cytoplasm of the cell. What is the end product of the glycolysis? What is the end product of the glycolysis? Is a pyruvic acid and also ATP. ATP is the energy currency of the cell and also NADH. What is meant by ATP? ATP means adenosine triphosphate. How many phosphate groups are there? There are 3 phosphate groups are there. Right? So NADH, FADH, these are the reducing equivalents, which means reducing equivalents. What means meant by reducing equivalents? They are also equal to the energy only, which means one NADH is equal to almost it is equal to the 3 ATP molecules. One FADH it is equal to the 2 ATP molecules. Right? So these are the reducing equivalents. In the reducing equivalents you gain the energy. In the oxidizing equivalents are NAD plus, FAD plus. Here you are gaining the energy, here you are losing the energy. Oxidation means breakdown. What is it? Oxidation means breakdown. In oxidation you always lose it. In the reducing you always gain it. So what are the end products of the glycolysis? What are the end products of the glycolysis? What are the end products of the glycolysis? You will get pyruvic acid, ATP, NADH and H plus. So these are the end products you are going to get in the process of glycolysis. Where it is occur? Location in the cytoplasm. Location of the glycolysis is cytoplasm. So the scheme, the glycolysis is given by the glycolysis pathway is also called as EMP pathway. What is meant by EMP pathway? These are the scientists. The scheme is given by the scientist. Imberden, Gustav Imberden, Mayer and Parnas. These are the scientists given the scheme of this glycolysis. and said about this is the ancient process. It is the first step which occurs in all living organisms. So the process of glycolysis, which means the glucose, the respiratory substrate glucose, which is breakdown and forming the energy. Glyco means sugar. Glyco means sugar. Lysis means breakdown. Lysis means breakdown. By breaking this sugar, we are forming the energy. Okay, this is the first step of cellular respiration, occurs in every living organisms. Right? See here, if it is the plant, so this is the plant. 1 minute. Okay, this is the plant. So the gaseous exchange occurs in the plant by through stomata, which is present in the leaves of the plant, right? So and also the gaseous exchange in the non-green parts of the plant also with the help of lenticels. They are lenticels. There are the parenchyma tissues. Thereby the exchange of gases occurs. Why they need exchange of gases? They also require some energy. So some other things, which means to conduction of minerals from the roots to the leaves. So they also need the energy. So energy is get by the respiratory substrates, nothing but, so whatever the plant prepared the food is nothing but sucrose. So the sucrose is translocated to various parts of the plant. So when the sucrose is break down, glucose and fructose by the enzyme name called invertase. So these respiratory substrates will ultimately turns to forms the process of glycolysis. Glyco means sugar, lysis means splitting, nothing but breakdown. Right? This is the ancient process which occurs in every living organisms. Let's see the question now. This is one of the very important question you have to know about this, both for IPE and also competitive examinations like NEET and MCQs. Let's see. First see the question here. So give an account of glycolysis. They are asking about the glycolysis. For the compulsory, you are going to write the long essay type of answer question. You have to elaborate the answer. Where it is happening, location you have to write, the cycle also you have to write in the, while writing this glycolysis. They are giving for allotted these marks of 8 marks question. So you have to represent very nicely about the what is glycolysis, where it is happening, at the end of the glycolysis, what are the end products are produced. So everything you have to write. So they are asking about the what is meant by glycolysis and also where it is happening. Wait, the exact location they are asked, where does it occur they asked, and what are the products at the end of the glycolysis, what are the products are produced, and also trace the fate. So what are the end products are produced, what is the fate, which means ultimately what they are, the products which are involved at. So in the both aerobic and also anaerobic, they are asked about by the aerobic organisms also and anaerobic respiration also, which means in the presence of oxygen also, in the absence of oxygen also. So and also describe the process of various biochemical reactions. The various nothing but the steps of reactions. It is not like that when we eat food we will get energy. It's not like that. When we eat food, the series of there is cellular respiration occurs by a series of stepwise reactions with different enzymes, which means they are involved in the 10 different and catalyzed different enzymes are involved in this glycolysis. What is meant by catalyzed? Which means increasing the process. If I want to go to some place, if I prefer my walkable, it will take time, right? If I prefer metro or else bus or else cycle or else scooty, it will take less time, which means the reactions are faster by using the enzymes, which means they are catalyzed, which means they fast up the process. See here. So what is meant by glycolysis? So here they are asking what is meant by glycolysis. As I explained before, glycolysis is the first step in respiration of living organisms. What is meant by respiration? Producing of energy by using the oxygen, right? So not only oxygen, for the anaerobic organisms also glycolysis happens, right? Glycolysis is the first step respiration of all living organisms. It is an ancient process. It takes place in the cytoplasm of the cells. Where is the location of the glycolysis? It is at the cytoplasm. So during glycolysis, glucose molecules break down to release energy. Glucose molecules break down to release energy. That is why glucose means sugar, nothing but the glucose, which is the sugar is breaking down. That is why this process is named called as glycolysis. During glycolysis, glucose molecules break down to release energy. So glycolysis is a partial oxidation. It is not complete oxidation, which means not complete breakdown. Complete breakdown is not happening. Whatever the products of the end products of the glycolysis, they are going to enter into the another cycle. First let's discuss this glycolysis, then we will know about it. So this is a partial oxidation. It is an incomplete oxidation. One glucose molecule to form two molecules of pyruvic acid. At the end of the glycolysis, what we are going to have? Two molecules of pyruvic acid. At the end of what are the end products of the glycolysis? Pyruvic acid. So at the end, you are going to get pyruvic acid. And also you will get ATP, NADH and H+. One NADH is equal to the 3 ATP molecules, right? Let's see. So what are the end products of glycolysis? Pyruvic acid, ATP, NADPH, H+. These are the end products of the glycolysis. So for one glucose molecule, what I said, they are going to produce 38 molecules of ATP. So let's see the first glycolysis. The cellular respiration releases the 38 molecules of ATP. Let's see for one glucose molecule. So what is the fate of pyruvic acid? Which means the end products of the glycolysis, nothing but the pyruvic acid. What is the fate? Which means what it destined. See, let's see. So in aerobic respiration, which means the presence of oxygen, the respiration, which means producing the energy, where oxygen is available, pyruvic acid completely oxidized. Whatever the produced pyruvic acid is completely oxidized into form carbon dioxide and H2O. Carbon dioxide and H2O. So what is the chemical formula of the glucose? C6H12O6. So in the presence of oxygen, what is going to produce? It will produce the carbon dioxide. 1 minute. It will produce the carbon dioxide and also water and also energy. So with one glucose molecule in the presence of oxygen, they are oxidizing into, which is breaking down into form the carbon dioxide through the physical process. By breathing, we are exhaling out. So is do plants require carbon dioxide? Is do plants require oxygen? Of course, they also require oxygen to produce the energy. So this complete oxidation, we are said that glycolysis is a partial oxidation, which means incomplete oxidation. So what are the end products of the pyruvic acid is there? It is going to completely oxidize and forming the carbon dioxide and water at what? Krebs cycle. So where is the location of the Krebs cycle? It is in the mitochondria. When we are discussing about this, you will know about better in the mitochondria. So the one glucose molecule is completely oxidized at the mitochondria in the Krebs cycle, forming the carbon dioxide and also water. Let's see. So in the anaerobic organisms, so in the anaerobic respiration, which means there is no availability of oxygen, this pyruvic acid, whatever the pyruvic acid is there, it will be converted into ethyl alcohol and lactic acid by the process of fermentation. So when some people see, they will do vigorous exercise. So what will happen? So they will get the muscle cramps, which means the pyruvic acid, which is the insufficient of the oxygen, there is the pyruvic acid is formed into the lactic acid by the fermentation process, right? So this is what happens in the anaerobic respiration. Glycolysis involves, so the process of glycolysis involves chain of 10-step catalyzed reactions. What is meant by catalyzed means fast up the process with the help of the enzymes. Glycolysis involves 10-step catalyzed reactions by various enzymes. With the help of the various different enzymes, it is fast up the process with the help of the enzymes only. So it is a 10-step process. In the 10 steps, we know that there are 10 steps, right? So in the 1 to 5 steps they require energy. They require energy to produce energy, which means we are investing it. We are investing the energy here. Here we are investing the energy. So 6 to 10 steps, we are gaining the energy. which means we are profiting, which we in 6 to 10 steps we are get the profit. We get the profit here. Okay. How many steps are there in the glycolysis? There are 10 steps involved in the process of glycolysis. In the 10 steps, 1 to 5 steps are require energy, which means investing. We are investing it. So while we are doing the business, what we will do? We invest it. Then we will get the profit, right? Like that only. In the 1 to 5 steps, they require energy. We are investing it. The energy. What is the energy current? Energy current of the cell? ATP. We are investing in the 1 to 5 steps energy. Then into 6 to 10 steps we are getting the energy. Let's see the glycolysis process. So here it is the glycolysis cycle. It is a 10-step enzymatic reaction. Let's see this. 1 minute kindly. Okay. It is visible. Okay. Let's see this. Okay. This is a schematic representation of the glycolysis. So the first glucose, it is occurs where it is the glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. In the cytoplasm of the cell. Think this. 1 minute. Think this. This is the cytoplasm of the cell. This is the cytoplasm of the cell. So the glycolysis is happening in the cytoplasm. The glycolysis is happening in the cytoplasm. It is a linear process. Let's see. The glucose molecule going to, it is turned into the glucose 6-phosphate in the presence of enzyme hexokinase. In the presence of enzyme hexokinase. Right? Glucose is a how many carbon compound? It is a 6 carbon compound. It is a 6 carbon compound. That is why they are noted as 6 carbon. So with the help of hexokinase enzyme, hexo means 6th. At the 6th position, so remember one thing before that. So wherever the kinase is came in the 1 to 5 steps, it is producing the ATP. Either we are giving the ATP in the at the first 1 to 5 steps. We are giving the ATP. Wherever the kinases came, we are producing, we are investing the ATP there. So here they are saying what? Hexokinase. Hexo means 6. At the 6th carbon, kinase, adding of the phosphide group. Adding of the phosphide group. At the 6th position, we are adding the phosphide group. That is why glucose is turned into glucose 6-phosphate in the presence of enzyme name called hexokinase. At the 6th carbon, we are adding the kinase, adding the phosphate group. Who is, which is giving to the phosphate group to that? ATP is giving. So this ATP, adenine triphosphate, is becoming the adenine diphosphate. So we are saying what is meant by ATP? Adenosine triphosphate, which is by giving one phosphate, it is becoming the adenosine diphosphate. So it is the glucose 6-phosphate, is becoming the glucose 6-phosphate. Then it by the phosphohexoisomerase enzyme. Phospho means in the 6th carbon it is phosphate is added, no, that is why phosphohexo. At what place? 6th place. Isomerase. What is meant by isomerase? Isomerase means similar compounds. They are similar compounds. They are mirror compounds. So it is producing the fructose 6-phosphate. It is producing the fructose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate and fructose 6-phosphate is nothing but they are same. They are same. They are same 6 carbon compounds only. They are similar. That is why phosphohexoisomerase. The enzyme which is forming the fructose 6-phosphate. If there is no kinase, kinases came in the enzyme. That is why we are not adding any ATP there. So let's see in the next step. So in the next step, the fructose 6-phosphate is converting into the fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Bis, bi means 2, right? So here, phosphofructokinase. Here the enzyme is phosphofructokinase. The phosphate group which is adding at the to the fructose group. At what place? At the first place. That is why fructose 1,6-phosphate. So who is giving? ATP is giving. ATP is giving to the to this fructose, to this fructose 6-phosphate, the ATP is giving to that fructose 6-phosphate and it is became the fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, right? It is also 6 carbon compound, right? So then now see the fourth step. The fructose 1,6-bisphosphate by the enzyme name called aldose, it is break down into three carbon compounds. One is glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate and another one is dihydroxyacetone phosphate, DHAP, dihydroxyacetone phosphate. So here see the fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is going to break down into three carbon compounds. So here it is 6. It is divided into, it is break down into 3 carbon compound and here also 3 carbon compound. These are also isomerous compounds, right? So in the whatever it is up to here the 5 steps. What I told to you guys, for the 1 to 5 steps there is a requirement of the investing phase. 1 to 5 steps are the investing phase, which means we are invested the ATP there. What we are invested? We are invested the ATP there. So how many ATPs are we invested? We are invested 2 ATPs at the first step and also third step. In the first step and third step we are invested the ATP, right? So now see the 5, 6 to 10 steps. So see here at the 6th step what happened? So see the dihydroxyacetone phosphate and also dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate, they are the isomerous compounds. The dihydroxyacetone phosphate also forms the pyruvic acid only and glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate also produces the pyruvic acid only. So the same process which is similarly happening to the dihydroxyacetone phosphate also. So we are calculating not for 1, we are calculating for 2, right? Have you got it? So these are the similar compounds. What are the series of steps happening here? Here also the series of steps happens like that only. So ultimately the DHAP also gives the pyruvic acid only. That is why we are not calculating for 1, we are calculating for 2. Let's see. So here the glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate, it is producing the in the presence of enzyme G3P dehydrogenase. Wherever the dehydrogenase enzyme is came, wherever the dehydrogenase enzyme comes, there is a release of the NADH. There is a release of the NADH. Okay, what I said, it is a reducing equivalent. So that is why glycolysis is also called as redox reaction. Redox reaction. Okay. So here the wherever the dehydrogenase enzyme comes, what will produce? NADH will produce. Here the which is giving NAD plus is giving the NADH, right? So the glycerol glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate in the presence of glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme, it is going to convert the 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid. 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid. So here at the 6th step, what is produced? NADH is produced. So as we are calculating for the both, so we are written as 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid. How many compounds there are? 2. For we are calculating for 2, right? That is why here we written as the 2-triose-bisphosphate, right? In the presence of enzyme, 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid in the presence of enzyme phosphoglycerokinase. Phosphoglycerokinase. Here we are expecting the 6 to 10 are profit phase. No, here the kinase is come. So when the kinase it came, what is the producing? ATP is producing. Here the see 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid in the presence of phosphoglycerokinase, the ADP turns into ATP. ADP turns into ATP. So here the phosphoglycerokinase, by that enzyme, it ATP is producing. Then it become the 3-phosphoglyceric acid. So wherever the 1-phosphate, it is donated to the ADP to form ATP here. Alright. So 3-phosphoglyceric acid is formed. As we are calculating 2, we are it is a 2-triose phosphate. Okay. Then in the presence of these 3-phosphoglyceric acid, it is going to convert to the 2-phosphoglycerate. 2-phosphoglycerate. In the presence of enzyme name called phosphoglyceromutase. They are just the phosphate which is present in, if we think it is like a 3-carbon compound. The first it is present here at the 3rd carbon. Then it just went to the next carbon. That's all. That is why 2-phosphoglycerate. The phosphate group which is present in the 3rd carbon, but is just transferred to the next carbon. That is why phosphoglycerokinase, in the presence of phosphoglycerokinase, it it turns into 2-phosphoglycerate. 2-phosphoglycerate. So then, in the presence of enolase enzyme, it forms the phosphoenol pyruvate. In that, it is the hydrolysis happen. The water is sent out. The water is sent out. So here the phosphoenol pyruvate in the enzyme name called pyruvate kinase. So whenever it is a kinase scheme, the formation of, as it is the profit phase, we are getting the ATP, right? The ATP turns to ATP. The adenosine diphosphate turns into adenosine triphosphate. The ultimately we form the pyruvic acid. So as we are doing for DHAP and also glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate, how many pyruvic acids came? 2 pyruvate acid, 2 pyruvic acids are came. Let's see. So in the investing phase, in the 1 to 5 steps, we are invested the ATP. We are investing, it is the investing phase. So how many ATPs are we are invested? 2 ATPs are we are invested. How many ATPs are we invested? 2 ATPs are invested. In 6 to 10 steps, how many ATPs are produced? In the profit phase, we got the 2 ATPs. Sorry, yes. So as we are calculating for DHAP also, and also as we are calculating for DHAP also and glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate. So glyceroldehyde phosphate got 2 ATPs and also DHAP got 2 ATPs, which means total 4 ATP. We are calculating for both, no? That is why 4 ATPs. 4 ATPs. And also at the 6th step, what we produced, what it is produced, NADH is produced. At the 6th step, what it is produced? NADH is produced. NADH is produced. At the 6th step, At the 6th step, NADH is produced. 1 minute, I will set the frame. Okay. So for the 6th step, 1 NADH produced. 1 NADH is equal to 3 ATP molecules. So let's set it once back. So when you are getting the profit, you will what you will take, the investment you will take it, right? So here how much you utilized? 2 ATP are we are invested it, which means we got the profit phase, we got 4 ATP, right? Which means we have to take out the investment. So how many ATPs will be there? 4 minus 2? 2 ATPs will be there. So it is the profit, it is the investment, it is the profit, it is the investment. From the profit, we took the investment. How many ATPs? How many ATPs are there? 2 ATPs. 2 ATPs. Right? It is a net ATP. It is a net. So sometimes you'll know if we have net cash, we'll say like that, right? Which means the money you have. So now they ask the gross ATP, which means total. If they ask total means here the 1 NADH is equal to what we said? 3 ATP, right? 1 NADH is equal to, wait, here it is not visible, no? Okay. See, 1 NADH is equal to 3 ATP. So as we are calculating for the glyceroldehyde 3-phosphate also, DHAP also, which means 2 NADH are produced. So 1 NADPH is equal to 3 ATP means 2 NADPH is equal to 2 NADPH is equal to 2 into 3, 6 ATPs. 2 into 3, 6 ATPs. Total 6 plus, here is the net ATP is 2. It is a total. How much? 8 ATPs. 8 ATPs. This is the total of the glycolysis formation of the energy. If they ask net, which means they are directly formed, there is no involvement of the reducing equivalent, which means net, 2 ATP. If they ask total, From the glycols, how much energy we got? 8 ATP. You can ask the question like this. So madam, one glucose molecule is producing the 38, no, but here in the glycolysis only 2. Only 8 is produced. Remaining 30 where, ma'am, you have to ask. So they are produced in the powerhouse of the cell, called mitochondria in the Krebs cycle. We will discuss later. First you have to focus on the glycolysis. So in this, the first 1 to 5 stages are investing phase. There we are investing the 2 ATPs. So in the profit phase, we are going to get from where the profit phase starts, from the 6 to 10 steps. So here the profit phase we got 4 ATPs from the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate 2 ATPs and DHAP 2 ATPs, total 4 ATP. Out of 4 ATPs we have to take out the investing phase, investing ATPs. So we invested 2, right? We take it 2. Here the 2 ATPs are remained. So along with that, the reducing equivalent is formed at the 6th step, which means glyceraldehyde formed the 1 NADH and 1 NADPH, and also DHAP formed the 1 NADPH, which means 2 NADH are produced. We know that 1 NADPH is equal to 3 ATP molecules, which means how many we formed? 6 ATPs we formed. 2 into 3, 6. 6 plus 2, 8. Which if they ask total is 8. Gross ATP is 8. If they ask net, it is 2 ATP. Got it? So in these 10 steps, there are 3 regulatory enzymes are there. Hexokinase and also phosphofructokinase and also pyruvic kinase. These are the 3 regulatory enzymes. These are 3 regulatory enzymes. They are also called irreversible enzymes. Irreversible enzymes. Among 3, phosphofructokinase is the enzyme we called as rate limiting enzyme. Rate limiting enzyme. We call it as rate limiting enzyme. So because from the hexokinase and pyruvate kinase also we can produce glucose 6-phosphate and also pyruvic acid, pyruvic acid in another ways. But without this phosphofructokinase we cannot form the fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. That is why this enzyme, this phosphofructokinase is the rate limiting enzyme. By the hexokinase pyruvic acid, if the glucose 6-phosphate and also pyruvic acid can be formed by the other ways. But there is no other way to produce the fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. There is only one enzyme should be there, that is phosphofructokinase enzyme. That is why it is the rate limiting enzyme. Got it? So this is about the glycolysis, and tomorrow class we will going to discuss about the steps of the glycolysis. As of now it is there. So let's see solve some questions. Here we solve some questions right here. We will solve one question. Then we will see in the next class. 1 minute. Okay. Let's solve one question here. Remaining we will solve at tomorrow class. So let's see one first question. Let's see the first question. Here it is an ask the question. 1 minute. Okay. So let's see the first question. In anaerobic organisms, the only process respiration is. In the anaerobic organisms, the only the energy producing form is only one way, that is glycolysis. Glycolysis, all here they given photosynthesis is it is nothing but the preparation of own food material. It is not that process. So tricarboxylic acid cycle, it is not that one. Krebs cycle is also called as tricarboxylic acid cycle. So let's see the next one. EMP pathway. EMP pathway means nothing but glycolysis. Glycolysis is also called as EMP pathway. Glycolysis is also called as EMP pathway. Krebs cycle and tricarboxylic acid cycle are the same. They are the same. Here the answer is C is the answer for this question. Have you got it? So let's do some other questions in the next session. In the we have to discuss the steps of the glycolysis also. By the we have to discuss with the I given the best mnemonic to to remember those steps. That glycolysis process and steps will discuss in the tomorrow class. This is what about the today's session. I hope you all clear about today's session, students. So I hope you all understood. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. So this is what about today. We'll discuss the steps in the next class. Okay. So before I am winding up the class, I would like to announce very important news for you. If you are seeing yourself as a doctors and if you are really passionate to see yourself a doctor and also engineers in the top colleges, if you want the seat. So here our NEET World is there. Because we are just offering at the rupees 3,333 rupees per month, and for class 12th and 11th also by parallel you are taking the your IP classes, you can get here the coaching. It is the best opportunity you will get. So and also for the repeaters, it is also you are also getting for the just rupees 3,333 per month. It is one of the best opportunity. And for both offline also, and if you want to come to offline, you can come to our institute name called NEET World present in Narayanguda. If you want to online access, we will provide your access in the app name called MedWorld there. So it is a great opportunity actually for the who are for 11th and 12th and also repeaters, greatly for the 11th and 12th. So if you are prepared well now, it will you can give you attempted upcoming NEET and EAP set examinations. It will be one of the best opportunity for you, because we are providing at just rupees 3,333 per month. So if you have any queries, please let me know by this number, and whatever the queries you can clear out by calling this number. And also don't forget to join in the Telegram group. There we will give we'll drop the pre-information of our free resources, and also you can ask any doubts, and also one-on-one interactions will be there. So it is quite great opportunity for you. If you really passionate about to become a doctor, it is the best platform, I say. This is what about the today's session. So let's meet in the tomorrow session. Thank you. Hi everyone, good evening. In which session you don't have sound, please let me know. Okay, I am winding up the class now. Thank you for all, and a very good evening to you all. Mayank, hi.